Well, since I'm not doing the ticket stuff,
Right, thank you, sir. There you go. Forgot mine was hard to get an office. I got the camera up right here.
well, there's your Are you close?
Oh, two. Good morning, Rick. How you doing? Rick?
Good morning, everybody. It's Kelly.
Good morning, everybody. It's Jim here.
Rick, you
Appreciate you fixing it.
Sorry on the confusion.
That's all right. I mean, I had a 300 sponsor.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm good to go on that.
Yeah, there should be 4 tickets though.
Yeah. What's the word?
2 days. I think people calling out of the blue. Got Raleigh. He was real. He was supposed to call me back.
There you go. See what you get.
I'm gonna carry it. She's gonna come and we do have at least one special guest.
Well, I have not doing I don't have that
How you guys doing? Good. Great Saturday.
Did you see that bottle of bourbon over there with around?
No, that's a nice bottle of bourbon, Raffle.
You never told me to start. Okay. We can, well, we got more. You don't know what Raffle is. You don't know. Yeah.
That's how that usually works. All right. Tommy, I need a number. Jack.
I'll take the staple out for you. I put it.
Rotarian, but it's not a sponsor. Well, I'm gonna find out.
Well, I did them 75 feet for Rick Morgan. You want to do that?
All right. I'm trying to figure this out. I'll do the.
Well, we'll have tickets and you show us what they want, and we'll have it all with Saturday. Oh, I think we'll show it Saturday.
I could build you.
Let James buy some here. We'll figure it out. I'm trying to get more money.
Yeah, you coming? I would like to. Well, I'll put your name down, and if you want to come, I'll have you know what to do. Okay. What they do, I'll show you 50 cents, you know. I sold Rick Martin 75 pieces.
Okay, well,
Okay. Yes, here's one for it. Party going on.
Thank you, Tommy.
She's a silver. You did I have.
Okay, but I don't.
Oh, those are more than sales.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we got hours of that. Alright, well, thanks. It's almost over. It's almost over. Very good. You know, we have to do it.
I'm sorry.
How about Ross Geller? You park him off?
Brad, did you get yours? Did you get your little paper, Brad? You're number 300.
You all right?
They come to the door. We can just hand them stuff. I don't know what I got it.
I applaud that.
You want a package?
Huh?
This is just tickets and stuff.
Okay. Sure. Sure. I think it's just TV.
Your wife's not coming?
She was playing something else.
Oh, Lord. Mike Allen called me last night. He's coming by himself.
She got something scheduled. I know when we weren't sure when it was going to happen, she went and scheduled something this morning.
I put your logo on the board.
Oh, thank you.
So
Appreciate it.
David Graves did it. Looks real good.
You guys make a big board in the
Yeah,
outside.
Bobby prints a big one. So,
I think it's going to be fun.
yeah. If this weather stays like this, I haven't even talked about the weather.
Yeah, have you looked yet?
Not really, because I'm scared to death. Something's going to change.
You don't want to know? You better not know.
But that's the way the weather goes.
You just don't know. All right, I'm going to grab food while I can.
She's very nice. Never know.
We might need, I'll say, if it's just a ticket and sale, I'll have it.
How much?
Oh, yeah, I got
You were Walt.
Let's say what?
How can I get to that?
What if y'all say no?
Let's say what?
I like that guy.
Let me make. Okay. Yeah, I'm doing the Raffle trip. So it doesn't matter about the. I'll try to make as many as possible. Why you think it doesn't matter.
I gotta find somebody.
You have to give him away yet?
Did you get your thing?
Hey, Tom, can you hear me?
Well, I invited Rob. Tell me how much you're raising. Tell me how much you're raising. That'd be great. Good.
I was asking, do I do that?
Yeah, I would go get breakfast.
Just check out the features. So this is the Arlo Pro 3 floodlight camera. Powerful floodlight, has 2K video with HDR or high dynamic range, has color night vision, two-way audio, built-in smart siren, weather resistant, so it has superior brightness with 2002 which has a little asterisk. It requires an outdoor PA or power adapter cable up to 3,000 lumens. Basically, it needs to be plugged in to get to the maximum brightness. It has a rechargeable battery, color night vision, which I really think all security cameras need to start doing. Two-way audio, custom control, 2K video with high dynamic range, which you will see later on. Built-in smart siren, multiple power adapters, rechargeable batteries, optional solar panel or outdoor power cable. And just like with other newer Arlo cameras, it needs a subscription if you want to take advantage of all the camera's features and recording to the cloud. 3 months of Arlo Smart included, which gives you these features. Advanced AI, which it can detect people, packages, vehicles, or animals. E911, easy access to emergency services if needed. Activity zones, which reduce false notifications. Rich notifications, where you have the thumbnail preview. And cloud storage at 2K resolution for 30 days. With our subscription, which applies
I didn't say Huckleberry, Martha Huckabee.
Okay.
It starts at
Lebarsky.
$4.99 per month.
Lebarsky.
I knew it wasn't Barry.
Listen, hey, come, before you go away, come over here and sign these things
On your 6th camera or more.
Sign what things?
for the loan. We worked on that all day, yes, not all day, but
Always companies are saying one size fits all.
that's what I'm asking you to do.
Who's got their mic on? They're talking about a loan.
Wow. Center is the floodlight camera. It is like a 203 with range. The design is not as bad as I thought it would be. So we have the camera lens, light sensor, smart.
everybody has breakfast, so we'll go ahead and get started. And I would ask for our next meeting, if everybody would go get their breakfast in a little more timely manner. We're about 20 minutes in, so if we're gonna stay on time, we'd probably have to start a bit earlier. So, Ross, you wanna lead us off with our invocation?
Bow your head, please. Blessed are you, Lord of creation. You feed the whole world with your goodness, your grace, your kindness, and your mercy. You nourish and sustain us and do good to all. Bless this food to our use and to your Rotary service. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And the four-way test for all we think, say, and do. Is the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and ever friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you, Ross.
Thank you, Ross. Brad, you have our Sergeant at Arms report. Bradley, is you looking for a report?
All right, we have 9 on Zoom. We have 23 in person, including Charlotte from the Sunset Coast.
That's a pretty good turnout. Quick, before we go on, birthdays and anniversaries, correct? You got a couple of weeks.
Yeah, a few weeks. How much time do you have as president?
Not a lot.
We're gonna do it next week?
Just go quick.
Okay, quick, put on my New York City speaking. All right, first report. Okay, let's see what we got. Wedding anniversaries. We're going back a little bit. Frank and Claudia Cheney, 21st of April. And let's see, gosh, that one was bad, I thought it was. Now then, we have some, let's see, member birthdays coming up, or actually in the past. We had Don Ray, and on the 15th of April, Steve Scott, I know you're here. Had a birthday on April 18th. I'll tell you, we're going back a ways. And Mick Middleton, who is, I believe, an absence, but he's one of us, coming back soon, May 2nd. Then we have our partner birthdays. Matthew Foster, I know you're here somewhere. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know you're here. Yeah.
Matthew looks surprised.
That'd be your bride.
Yes, I didn't
Harley, yeah. Let's not mess that one up. And Mark, Kim's got a birthday. June. That's what I said. We want to be prepared. We have you down for May. Tell her she's going to have to change that birthday.
You tell her right now.
Yeah, okay. Hey, that's a good one. Oh, and I'll do that for you. Now then, we have some wedding anniversaries. James Pegram and Linda, you have a wedding anniversary, I think. When was yours? May 4th. Okay, that's one that's coming up. And Rob and Susan Bishop, where's Rob? Is he here today? They've got one coming up on the 4th. David Lillard, you've got one coming up on the 5th. Be ready for that one. Yeah, you've got one coming up. So I think we got all of the heads up alerts. Okay, and now for our club anniversaries. Get ready. This is the week we're celebrating the founding of Gate City Rotary. So we have several founding members that are still with the club, and we want to be certain to recognize them. Before we do that, though, Brad Guile, you had an anniversary right here. There he is. Yeah. How many? There you go. All right. Well, good job, Brad. Good job. Let's see who else we got here. Short list. Okay. Now we get to our founding members that are still with us. So we're about 20 founding members of this club that kicked it off in May of 1991. And so coming up on 30-year anniversary. But let me read these names of those that are still active and with us. Lawrence Mann, Tom Sears, and Don Ray, Jonathan Smith. I thought he was here today. Okay. And Robbie Hassel And Buster Lewis didn't see fit to join us today, but he is online there. All right, Buster. Grandpappy, did Grandpappy join at the same time you did? No, maybe that's.
Might not be.
All right, Mike Conrad, and one of our founding members. Great member today. Yeah, come on, get here. Come on. Jim Kennedy and Rusty Hoffman and Tom Phoenix. These are folks that are still active in our club and have been carrying this club.
We're acknowledging all the founding members today. It's your 30th anniversary.
For all of these folks, when we do a changing of the guard, but it wouldn't be right to have a meeting and not mention them again today. How was that, Mr. President?
Thank you, Rick. Very speedy. Thank you. So next we're going to talk about our fundraiser. You guys want to do some announcing? It's 3 days away, guys.
3 days. So I'll go quick. If you haven't picked up your package and you're coming, they're over here. If you're on the call and you haven't picked it up, we'll have them at Grandover when you check in. We're just hoping for great weather. I've already turned a number into Grandover that I'm guaranteeing will be there. So hopefully they'll all show up. It's gonna be great weather. I can't thank some people enough. Bobby's done great on signage and all the raffle tickets. Donnell and Lisa saved me. I mean, it's been unreal. Kelly Harrell at Grandover, I just can't say enough. I've been out there 4 or 5 times. So I'm sure I'll thank them again at the event. Hope everybody can make it out there. It's gonna be great weather. We have tons of prizes, so we've had more stuff donated. So we'll be raffling off all kinds of stuff. We'll be betting on the horses, prizes for whoever wins that. So it's gonna be a fun day. Best dress.
Yeah, I want to.
Wear something derby style.
Yes.
I want to personally acknowledge Lisa, Tom, and I know Danielle and Kelly. All of these guys. It's really hard to plan anything right now, right? So they've worked really hard. They've done a great job on a bunch of things. So let's all give them a round of applause. It's hard to do. You know, there still are people that are not doing it. And I think the timing is going to work really well because the executive order has relaxed to the point where 100 people can meet indoors and 200 outdoors. So it worked out. So, you know, sometimes even a blind squirrel finds it.
I want to add to that. So we do need some volunteers to help us run a couple key stations. So I asked that if anyone has an hour to come see one of the 3 of us, registration, the betting tables, and then I'm going to need folks walking around selling tickets. Like, we really need your help. So again, if you can allot an hour for us, that would be great. And again, see one of the 3 of us before the week.
Thank you. So real quick, this is the next upcoming event after that. We are going to do a changing of the guard. It will be at Star Mount. It's going to be on a Wednesday evening. So I just wanted to mention it kind of early so people can plan for it. It's going to be June 23rd. So not at all looking forward to that event. Just wanted to make sure y'all were all aware. Sorry, Lisa. So Matthew, do we have any updates on service?
We do. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I finally got a date nailed down with Victory Junction Game Camp, May 29th. After that, I'll look towards into the future and pick a date for us to go to Camp Gear Free. Later on in the year, since they're not having camp, which affords us a little more flexibility with the projects to do it. So as soon as I figure out what project we're going to be doing with them, I'll send an email out and sign some.
So May 29th is our next service project. Thank you, Matthew. I know it's the same thing. It's been hard to iron this all out, plan it. We've got something else good to do in the world. So.
Is it 28th or 29th?
Matthew, 29th, right?
29th is a Saturday.
29th. All right, so Lisa, I know there's something with out of the guard. You guys had to ask, is that going to pan out with the?
We're just waiting for pallet shelving to be delivered, and whenever that comes in, I've asked Matthew if maybe he could just shoot out a quick email. We probably have 2 nights that we assemble the new pallet shelving, so just if anybody.
So Out of the Garden is going to be our district grant recipient, it looks like this year. So, you know, we're really supporting it. It's a great cause. They They feed our community. They take food that obviously would have ended up in a landfill and make people happy and healthy. So great cause. We'll do an informal service project with them. And Lisa also sent out an ask, which I want to mention. What's the?
So the Sherry Bertino, the contact that we had with the Greensboro Police Department, she has asked, I guess the Greensboro Police Department sponsors the polar plunge out at Wet and Wild this Saturday. Doesn't seem like it'll be a polar plunge, but so she just asked for some volunteers to help at the end of that event to load all of the stuff, whatever that is, tables or whatever, into a truck. So if you're interested, please respond directly to her. I sent the email out, but I also have her mobile number if you'd like to connect with her. And it probably would be an hour of work at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, so if you're free Saturday, very worthy cause, May 29th, and then we have something with Out of the Garden, more information coming on that. So I'm gonna stop right there so we have time for our speaker, which is gonna be a great topic, but we're gonna do Happy Dollars. Bobby, we'll do our Happy Dollars.
The big crowd, they're on demand in here. Whoa, man, Winnie, you don't need change?
Makeup for food. Rosa and Victoria update. Rosa is coming home this weekend for the summer. She's got a job. She's taking some summer classes to fulfill her hope to graduate in 4 years with her master's. She's had her second article published in Platform Magazine, and got a position as chief editor for next fall in that. So very excited to have her coming home and to know that she's doing well and that she likes the job that she's actually doing. Victoria is going, ask for you to pray for her. She'll be gone for a month. She's going to work crew for Raffle. And it's good for her, but she does have severe allergies with food. So I'm always worried about her being away, and just always seems to be the prepared for her. She leaves on the 22nd. She'll be back on the 17th, I think, of June. So for her safe return, I would appreciate that. She's also playing field hockey. The most exciting, just Jeff Tillman and I always go back and forth over Grinsley because we usually beat them. But anyway, they went in the most exciting game. They went into 2 overtimes, and then I'm not sure, they've always played soccer, so I don't understand field hockey. But they went into that penalty kick, it's not kicks, thing with field hockey. She scored, Victoria scored against the goalie, one of the 2 successful goals, and the goalie is a D1 commit. And the coach told her that night that he wants her to play college. So we don't know where that will fit. But anyway, she's doing really well, and thank you for listening to that.
That's a 5, Bobby.
Yeah, great.
Chip.
Yes, well, when we hear about Victoria Rose, we're going to hear about Wilder. 2 weeks ago, Wilder had no hope for a job, hadn't applied, hadn't talked to anybody, nothing. I called him yesterday on a different matter, totally. I said, would you get around and sending out those 5 resumes? So Dad only sent 3, but I have 5 interviews with 5 different companies. So I think he's going to be okay. 2 others called him out with clear footage. I think he's going to be okay.
Keeping up the family theme here.
Wow, okay.
I got 3 of them. The first one will be for my bride of 32 years, Eloise. Some of you know, not long after we got married, she got a gig at UNCG, the private business school, teaching business law and some other things over there. And last week, for the 6th time since 1998, they awarded her the Teaching Excellence Award for non-tenured faculty. The second happy dollar is for my bride of 32 years. In light of that, and incidentally, and independently of that, our good friend David Kraft, a strong UNCG alum, has seen her over the years, was a good friend with her, and is also loyal to UNCG, and has decided to endow a new teaching award in her name, which will be the Eloise McCain Hassel Teaching. Third happy dollar is not for Eloise, although I can keep going, but it is to someone related to her by marriage. The North Carolina Bar Association in recent years has developed this thing called the Citizen Lawyer Award, which they bestow upon about a dozen or so, sometimes not that many, lawyers and public officials across the state, recognizing the role that lawyers play generally and are encouraged and expected to play in serving, in committed to public service, serving their communities, and in serving their profession. And this year's class includes our immediate past Chief Justice Sherry Beasley, another appellate judge, 2 past State Bar Association presidents, and me. So, how that happened, I enjoyed my time with the Greensboro and North Carolina and American Bar Associations, being involved in leadership levels, and all I've really done is what Rotary encourages us to do, which is to be involved in our communities, to be involved in our profession, and to make our public system better. And so that's what I try to do. So nice to be with you all.
Dan Quinn's a member of the bar too. It's a different.
They sent me a certificate. I did not get arrested again this week.
Good week.
Any more? Well,
Whoa. No, I've still got a Happy Dollar. My new best friend, Mike. Andrews, my little dog, as you guys know, been having a tough way to go. And he has pulled us through there and lost the leg. He did surgery, and that little guy has bounced back. It's amazing. But by the way, if any of you guys had Mike Andrews' personal mobile number, I'm pretty sure he has changed that. The last thing I know, he's thinking, why the hell did I ever give this man my mobile number? So if you got that, you probably gonna have to get a new number there. Thank you again, good sir. Great. Yeah. I think it's changed now. It's a
true professional. How many veterinarians you know who wear a necktie?
A true pro. And he does house calls because we came out there to his office and he came out to us. And I'm like, God, doctor still makes house calls. So put another happy birthday.
Grandpappy's troubles continue. 2 weeks ago, I told you about it. He went to the therapist because Grandmammy made him go, and the therapist said he had a revenge complex, and he said, well, we'll see about that. And then last week, he went to the marriage counselor, and the question about Grandmammy's favorite flower, and he said self-rising. So this week, he went back to the marriage counselor reluctantly, and Grandmammy unloaded. She just told the counselor about all the years of neglect and lack of attention and everything. The counselor goes over and just says, I'm so sorry, and starts massaging Grandmammy's neck, and then the whole look of despair just leaves her face. The counselor turns to Grandpappy and says, Grandpappy, did you see how that little bit of attention, what it is? He said, yeah, that's remarkable. I can't believe that. He said, do you think maybe she can get this kind of attention maybe three times a week? Grandpappy said, well, I can get her over here on Monday. But on Friday, I play golf.
Thank you, Bobby. Hey, Robbie, by the way, you married up, buddy, and you're no slob either. So great job. So with that, we'll have. Are you gonna introduce yourself? All right, we'll have our speaker introduce herself.
All right. So good morning, Allison Huber. I am representing the Triad Honor Flight, and I said to Lisa, I can just introduce myself because you heard from me before. You were my very first presentation to a Rotary group, so I was extremely nervous. I think I shared with you that I'm not a morning person. So I would be normally getting up about 10 minutes ago to be on the computer by 7:45. So I love you all. I'm very committed to this organization, and I wouldn't be here if that was not the case. So, and everybody over here, okay. So the presentation has not changed a lot. So I really wanted to make this more interactive with some of the things, updates on where we are, what we're doing, what's changed. But for anybody who missed it, we'll go very, very quickly through some of the background. And how many of you were on the call? It was one of the earlier Zoom calls when I spoke last year. So I know that there were quite a few of you. My dad was the inspiration for me trying to get this reinvigorated. And he is a tweener. He's in the Army, or had served in the Army, and was between Korea and Vietnam. But the Russians knew him by name. So he was stationed in Germany, and so we're very blessed that he's still with us today at 84. When he went to DC, I surprised him. So he was not expecting me. I got off, he gets off the plane. I'm holding a camera here so he can't see me. I dropped the camera and someone's videoing, and I'm telling you, the tears just started flowing. That day changed my life. I didn't necessarily understand the history, the military, the background, but Penny Stafford is expected to be on our flight. He's 98 and fought in the Battle of the Bulge. And he's the reason we're trying to get this going as quickly as possible. He tells me every time I visit him, we meet for Guilford Rotary on Tuesday. And if there's food left over, I take a box and I visit him on the way home to get back on the computer. And every time he says, you know, when's that flight? I'm excited about that flight. And I hope I'm around for that flight. And at 98 every day, you just never know. At 49, you just never know. So you got to live every moment as if today is your last, right? So a lot of the pictures are from past flights. And what I had mentioned before is I was not involved at all in the Triad Flight of Honor. And so when we started putting this together, you can hit the next one. When we started putting this together, we went as a national hub and said, what do we need to do to get going? And they rattled off all these things, including have a board, have a Facebook page, have a website, have bylaws, be incorporated. So we started putting all that together last year, right as the pandemic hit. And it didn't slow us down. We were able to continue with our mission to have the military honored with one last mission. Again, these are pictures. My brother is with my dad. He was his guardian. One of the things people ask me is, what's different now than before? Does anybody know? Does anybody remember?
Different events, so like the Korean War and the Vietnam War.
That's exactly right. That is exactly right. When the Triad Flights of Honor took place here from 2009 to 2011, it was strictly World War II veterans. It is now open to all veterans 65 and older. That's very important. So we expect that this first flight will have World War II like Penny, Korean veterans, we've got tweeners, and we will probably have Vietnam veterans as well. We have right now applications from about 95 veterans. So go ahead and hit the next one.
Quick question. So the first Gulf War was 30 years ago, just about, right?
Mm-hmm.
So did they qualify? So I'm sure there are 30-something-year-olds that were in when that happened.
Yeah.
Did they qualify?
That's a great question. So we will take the veterans by age, and we'll have a cutoff towards the end of the summer so that they can be prepared. And then we will have a wait list for those that say, hey, I'm registered, but I can't go. So out of that 95 right now, the bulk of them are Vietnam veterans, but you could have somebody that maybe served that was older during the Gulf War that would qualify. And by the way, they do not have to have served in a foreign war. They don't have to have left American soil. If they are military, we are going to honor them, right? And so one of the things that I think is so important or so crazy to me is we have a lot of veterans that say, I want to go as a guardian. I don't want you to honor me. And I'm talking 80-year-olds that say, I want somebody else to go. I would love to be there and participate, but I don't want to take their spot and I want to pay for my spot. Go ahead to the, sorry. Little back history, so you may know already, but Earl Morse is the one who started the flights, And he was a VA physician, and ended up just taking 2 veterans on his first flight. But Jeff Miller, who is to the left, he's the one that said, I love this concept, but you're thinking too small. Let's charter planes. Let's take as many as we can. And he was the one that grabbed some of the key volunteers from the Rotary District 7690 to say, come on board, let's make this happen. And they did from 2009 to 2011. So you can hit the next one. I mentioned we are a national hub. There's between 125 and 130 hubs nationally. They fly out of 45 states. The wait list since COVID is now over 50,000. And so what that looks like to us is, as veterans are applying, again, the more elderly veterans that apply, it's gonna have an impact on those that are younger. And so they'll stay on the list and be able to participate in the future. It is not a one and done. It's a minimum one per year. As a national hub, that's one of our requirements. Cincinnati, who my dad flew through, they do 3 to 5 a year, and would love to get to that point, but it's going to take, it takes a lot of volunteers, it takes a lot of funding. And so we just want to get this first one off the ground.
So yes. How many people can you take in one flight?
That's a great question. 186.
Wow.
That includes some EMTs, a couple of volunteers, probably between 90 and 100 veterans, and then guardians. The other thing that is different from the past flights is you might have one person like Guy who had 3 veterans that he was responsible for. And that is very difficult. In fact, Elaine Dills, one of my board members, lost one of her veterans. She was supposed to be on the bus, and she got off and she was at a bar hanging out with a bunch of guys when she found her. So it's a 1-to-1 ratio. 1-to-1 ratio. Yeah. We want to make sure that we don't lose anybody. But it makes it more intimate. We do have a lot of veterans, again, younger and older, that want to be a guardian for an older veteran. So, next. I love this statistic because nearly 250,000 veterans have flown nationally. And the fact that Rotary District 7690 was responsible for 1,300 just in that short time period is just so phenomenal. Again, these are some old pictures from past flights. It's okay, sorry. Our board is, we do have 3 executive positions that are filled by Guilford Rotarians. And we do, as you can see, have quite a bit of veteran population. The other thing that is important is that we serve a certain county area. And we had to designate that because of national. They said you can't overlap with Raleigh, you can't overlap with Charlotte. So they determined which counties we were allowed to serve. The veterans will only be from those counties unless we do some type of special exception. But the guardians don't have to be. I was presenting to another Rotary Club, and a gentleman who happens to be over, he's closer to Fayetteville and still involved in the military, and he wants to come and be a guardian. He was very involved in the past flights, but he gave up his spot multiple times so that someone else could go. And so we're excited to have him on this next flight. So the way it works is you have to designate a couple of dates that you would like to fly with American Airlines or with whichever airline you're working with. They do a lot for us, American does. Not necessarily a big discount because the flight itself for 186 people is $70,000, but they are much more familiar with how we do things and how the veterans work. So we will be flying on Veterans Day, which is exactly 10 years to the date of the last flight here out of the Triad, which is why we wanted to do that. Unfortunately, there's a couple of things that we might not be able to do because of doing Veterans Day, and that includes the changing of the guard and the Women's Memorial that's at Arlington. So that's unfortunate. Next. What we're asking is to help us spread the word. I wanted to share a couple of quick things. We've got a couple of events coming up. Things that you can do to be a volunteer. It can be anything from being a volunteer at one of our events where we're raising funds. You can write, these came from the dollar store. You can write thank you notes to the veterans. They'll have mail call on the way home, and they'll each get a packet with lots and lots of handwritten notes and things from the kids in the schools and all sorts of things. This you can do regardless of whether you're in person or you are Zooming. You can write a couple of notes. We were very blessed to be in the Kernersville News on front page and a whole page, page 6, which is awesome. Again, just spreading the word. But we've got some of these made up. If you know of strategic places that they can go and be displayed where there are a lot of veterans. We've got some at the Veterans Hospital in Kernersville, at VFWs, at, I know the Elks has sponsored a veteran. So again, getting the word out, and you can go ahead to the next one. I just wanted to mention these. If we've got a really high traffic area, if your business is located in a very high traffic area, we've got these that we can put out, but we also are doing some things with the Thank You Veterans signs. We're working with organizations who may want to sell them, and they get a portion and we get a portion. So I'm working with a Boy Scout troop that is going to sell 100 signs. They make money and they sponsor a veteran. So it's a win-win situation, and they get recognized, and again, one more veteran goes. So those are, oh, sorry. Also on the table, I just put one of the flyers that's our trifold, and then some information about, we've got a couple of big events coming up. One is a cycling event in the northwest part of Guilford County. They're expecting 100 to 150 bicyclists. We've also done a motorcycle ride that actually had a stop here and finished at Springer's, and they've raised nearly $10,000 for us, so that's huge. We've got some corporate sponsors like Crumley Roberts, and I don't know, so I've got that up. Really wanted to answer questions that you might have regarding, I don't know how we are on time. I was trying to talk really fast. Yes.
Hey, Allison, this is more of a statement than a question. Guy, you mentioned the Gulf War. Don't forget Mogadishu, Libya, Grenada, Panama, Lebanon.
Yugoslavia. Yeah, I forgot Yugoslavia. There's a lot more than just the big ones.
Yes. Well, that's why we continue to tell folks that this is open to every veteran 65 and older. We don't want to limit that to specific, but they do, in terms of the flight, because there is a World War II memorial, we'll lay a wreath at the World War II memorial, at the Korean memorial, and the Vietnam memorial. Yes.
Now there is a distinction between serving and being a veteran. So you're saying anybody that served?
They have to have the paper. See, now this is exactly why I'm learning every single day.
Yeah, I'm just trying to.
You have to have the honorable discharge papers. Is it a W something?
Sorry,
914.
218.
Something like that in order to qualify. Yes.
No, never heard of it.
So this is my understanding. You have to have served during a conflict to be a veteran. But I could be wrong, right? And if you want to be a combat veteran, you actually have to have been in combat. So that, and I could be wrong.
65 and over, honorably discharged.
Right. So that's really. So it's not necessarily just veterans, is what I'm trying to say. Because
Now, anybody who served in the military is a veteran.
I don't know about that. I think the Department of Defense classifies you as serving during a conflict.
That's if you're a combat vet.
Combat vet.
No, I'm not a combat vet.
Consult a lawyer and a judge.
It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. The whole discussion is irrelevant. She's saying if you have been honorably discharged and you're over 65, you qualify for this. That's the relevant part of this. Sorry.
Our version, our terminology may be a little different, but that's okay.
Yes.
Some of the folks have asked me where we are in the fundraising efforts, and we are about halfway to our goal. Part of that will be made up with Guardian. The Guardians do pay their own way, which is $600. Sponsoring a veteran is $600. That covers flight, insurance, ground transportation. We do a police escort while we're in DC. It's a wonderful experience.
How many signs do you have?
With me, I think I have 10 or 15.
I'll take 5.
Okay.
And I would like to get 5 people. Well, I want to put one in front of my business, but 4 people that are in high traffic areas. If you would like a sign, I'll give you one. So
awesome.
There you go.
Thank you. Let me make sure. I may have some more in there. So I'm there in my car. So
Mr. Haney's got in the trunk.
I started to mention the fundraiser that we have on the table is a big event for us. It is going to be June 5th. So it's the weekend of the Memorial of D-Day. We have 2 bands coming. We have fireworks. It's the first event where we've had something invested monetarily. So it's giving me an ulcer. But would love for you to spread the word. The tickets are $75. Again, it's at the Hideaway at Crooked Creek, and it's going to be a fantastic full day of events and ending the night with the fireworks. So, yes, sir.
Have you thought about getting a bank as a sponsor? When we did this before, we had BB&T, and they had their signage within the bank.
Mm-hmm.
So we had so many contributions for just customers that were going in to make deposits and things like that. You know?
Yes, sir.
Of course, in COVID, not many people are going into a bank, but
that has been it. They're not wanting people in their doors, so we've struggled a little bit with setting something up where you could make a donation. What I think has evolved since the last flight is the ability to take Venmo payments, being able to do GoFundMe's, and we've got some other ways that we're bringing in.
yeah, we actually had money left over after we took all those flights.
Okay.
And we were able to donate. So
Yeah.
It's
Wonderful.
It worked out well.
We definitely want to get things rolling enough that we can go into planning for the next flight without being at 0, because we literally started at 0. And there are companies that have matching funds. So if you know of companies that we need to reach out to get on their listing, for T-Mobile, when I worked for T-Mobile, it was set up a dollar for dollar. And during the month of December, they even tripled it. So I was able to make a donation, and it was able to be tripled through Benevity Group. So any other questions? I may be out of time, but any questions from Zoomers? No? All right, thank you so much.
Isn't she great? Allison, you did a great job. We have a raffle, so I'm gonna have you draw a ticket for us. We have probably about $500 in this thing now, so.
All right, 507-046. Wow. It was great.
Are you stuffing the ballot?
All right, I'm gonna
Oh, it looks like a new deck.
It's fairly new.
Oh.
All right, guys, everybody have a great week. Go, make sure you sell some more tickets. We still have time left.